One of the gifts that I get to share with folks is a True You workshop. And I love it because what ends up happening is people are coming in with experiences, usually from childhood or experiences from the military and war that have started to take a toll on daily lives. And what is amazing to me is that we have the ability to heal and release these experiences um, very easily, quickly, and without talking a lot about what those experiences were. As we talk about the experiences and what we've seen in life, we actually end up creating it. And this was part of my experience as I realized that the techniques and the things that I used to get myself successful as a pilot and a military officer, the harder I tried and applied myself in those abilities or techniques, the less of a positive result I got. And for me, it felt like everything I knew how to do in life was no longer working. And really, the truth of it was no longer working because they were actually more along the lines of coping mechanisms or ways that I found value in who I was because I was putting it outside of me. And what I realized is as we release the negative emotions and feelings around different experiences, and we can do this with really easy epigenetic techniques, the quantum physics. What I love about this program is it is empowering you and teaching you that you have the ability to heal yourself within those 2 days and then move forward and respond to life based off of your truth and the heart of who you are, more in alignment with who you are and how you want to be in the world. And so, the breakdown of the course is we are taking the first quarter of the 2 days and releasing energy and beliefs and things that are not you. I I strongly feel, and as I've gone through 3 years of this work and walked along beside people, guiding them to change their lives in 2 days, um, that most 80 to 90% of the things we are trying to reconcile are not ours. And what ends up happening is when we release that burden of those things that we cannot come to terms with, or we cannot, um, you know, uh, understand or rationalize for ourselves because they're really not ours. They're placed on us by the people we grew up with or experiences that we had and made meanings out of that really are pulling us away from our heart and who we truly are. And so when we release that and find out the truth of who we are, the soul signature, the feeling of who we are inside, we have the ability to create so much relief within our bodies, within our minds. And the second part of the day is spent healing specific memories that are remaining and then finding ways to reprogram our habits and ways that we cope, whether it's through addiction or through not taking steps forward in our life. It's finding that ability to have resilience and live within the presence and create the life that we want. And that involves mind, body, and spirit, and reconnecting ourselves to all of this and being in body, and really connecting us to our feelings and our emotions. Those are our guidance system and our compass. And so when we're living a life disconnected from that, we are living without our most incredible tool to experience a beautiful life. Um, I think one of the most beneficial experiences was understanding how anger, fear, sadness, and guilt are for you. And they are part of your compass system that are giving you clues about how in alignment we're living with our lives. And now, for me, for an example, because I have the ability to take a bunch of different ideas and change my beliefs and reframe my experiences in life, and find systems and create new ones, find the things that are breaking down and create ones that are actually better and more sustainable. Um, one of the negative aspects is that if people are projecting untruths or speaking things that are not true about myself or the world, anger starts to show up as that strength within me of, hey, you're not you're not speaking truth. This isn't true. You're taking on a belief of somebody else. And how this presents in my life is people will actually say you're being defensive. And instead of having a fight and going back and forth and sticking up for what I think is right, I'm able to take a step back now and look at, I am being defensive. What is going on? How can I respond to it? Is it time for me to leave the conversation? Is it time for me to realize, oh, I'm taking on a belief that's not true, or this statement is intrinsically not true, and how can we break it down and have a conversation? Or is it time to just drop that and move on? So I am able to better respond in my life. Other ways, other feedback that people have presented is that when they actually feel good, sometimes we are in environments where other people don't want to feel good. And, it's a funny story, but somebody was in an office and they were just yelled at to get out because they were feeling good and they were happy and leave. And then rather than take that personally, the person was able to realize, well, cool, they asked for a boundary. I'm just going to go leave and maintain who I am and stay happy. And I think a lot of times we sacrifice who we are to meet people where they're at. And in the long term, we're discounting who we are and the truth of who we are. I love the fact that people get to use their words to put to the frequencies that they feel inside of them. And this is where I started calling one of the exercises returning to their soul signature. This is the energy that we truly are at the beat of our heart. And as I see people step back and use the language to really start to feel who they are, I can just see how this is who they are to express in the world. These are the energies they bring. Because each of us is unique and we have a different piece of the puzzle to add to the world. And where we're not being ourselves and we're taking on beliefs and doing things for others at the detriment of who we are, we're not contributing the truth of ourselves. We're not contributing our unique piece to make the difference that we desire in the world. And so there's just so many layers to this True You workshop that it's truly a pleasure to unwind and allow people to find out who they are and continue the growth and reset their lives. Some of the immediate feedback that I've heard from people is, right at the end of that 2 days, if I just felt like I released 6 years of grief. With some of the techniques, I've helped veterans go through an exercise where they were feeling guilty for being deployed while their family member passed away. And so they were able to release that and have a completely different experience. And those are not only gifts for the people that I get to share these techniques with, but also for myself, because having been deployed and having had my dad pass away and being in these strange worlds while you're dealing with grief and loss at amazing levels that we probably don't experience day to day. It's my pleasure to share these abilities to have different relationships with our past experiences, no matter what the trauma, no matter what the belief we took on about ourselves. Because I think at the heart of who we are, we have this strength and this power and this resiliency that we can tap into and completely change our lives. Let's see. What is really cool is because we are not talking about experiences, if even in a small group, we get to hold space for each other, realizing that we're releasing big things in our lives, but you don't have to share what it is if you don't want to. And so I think that's really powerful as far as we kind of hold ourselves back because we're worried about what other people are thinking. And in my experience and listening on the other side throughout my whole life, I've come to realize we all experience a lot of very similar feelings, such as loneliness, not fitting in. I'm the weird one. Someday I would love to have a talk at high school and find out how many people really feel that they fit in this environment. And so I think there is more grace and more ability to have compassion for others when we realize that we're all coming from very similar backgrounds, and the truth of who we are is loving and compassionate and powerful and resilient. So I invite you to look more throughout my website. And if you have any questions on what to experience or how we can work together, I please encourage you to call, write, and we can see how we can adapt these techniques into your life. I love working with creative people who ask for what they want. So, and what I've experienced with this program and how I've adapted it to create the change and continue to progress, I've actually taken things that other people have contributed for the past 3 years and included it in this workshop. So we each get to pass on our wisdom and our questions and our ability to create new things. And I love adapting that to the programs and with the people that I get to work with. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you for being here.